I got to walk up the beach with the camels on my own for a little bit, and then was later joined by friends and family. So it was just a fantastic day. But then I guess there's also a bit of a sadness, you know, that the trip's over now.
Yeah.
It's been many years in the making and dreaming, and now it's a bit of a gap, really.
Why did you do it?
Oh, well, really purely for the love of adventure, I guess, you know, and the love of camels too. I've been working with camels now for about 4 or 5 years, and they're just incredibly resilient animals and so smart. And yeah, and I just fell in love with them and wanted to go on a big adventure.
And you've been on the road now for over 18 months. What have been some of the highlights and also the low points of the journey?
Oh, yeah, some of the highlights. I mean, I absolutely loved seeing the really remote stretches of Australia. I mean, I feel incredibly lucky that I got to see areas of Australia that no one else gets to see. And crossing through the desert, there was it was a fantastic season out there this year. There was wildflowers everywhere, so that was just beautiful to see. Also meeting the people along the way. We've met some really kind and generous people that have taken us into their homes and onto their stations, and yeah, so it's been really positive in that way. There's been some hairy moments though too. I had at the beginning of this year, I had a couple of the camels, their saddles came off, which is of course not ideal, and they ended up over their necks. The camels ended up bucking about. I ended up basically being dragged along, you know, with my head at the camel's back ends, bouncing along. So not the best place you want to be. And but I was determined to not let the camels run off on me. So
they behaved
yeah,
themselves
hairy
after
times.
that, did they?
They did. I had a stern word to them.
How did the pandemic affect your plans then? Did you get caught up in restrictions and border closures as well, Sophie?
I've been really lucky, actually, in the sense of the pandemic. In some ways it's actually benefited me, which I feel very lucky, because there was less people on the roads. I mean, when I started April 2020, it was sort of right when things were kicking off, and I had trucked the camels from Uluru across to Western Australia, and about a week later we actually got locked into the state. So I was locked into the state that I was, you know, wanted to begin the trip in. So if it had been a week later, I wouldn't have even been able to begin. And there was just far few people on the road, and which was perfect. You know, it's a lot safer that way for me and the camels without having to deal with vehicles. So it actually in some ways really benefited me.
Yeah. What's next, Sophie? Where are you off to next?
Well, I'm going to take my friends behind me here back to the desert at some point. I think they're sort of looking around going, what's this strange green land you've taken us to? So yeah, we'll be heading back to the Flinders Ranges, and from there I'm going to try and sit still long enough to potentially write a book.
Right. And what about the camels themselves? How do they cope with the whole thing, and how do they keep you going?
Oh, I am so proud of the camels. That's probably that's the biggest feeling from the end of the trip is just pride in my animals. These guys came out of the wild about 3 years ago from the APY lands around Uluru, and to see them progress from wild, scared animals to the bravery that they've shown, you know, crossing areas that were just so unfamiliar to them. You know, when we reached the beach on Friday, it's such a that's only the second time they've seen the ocean. They've never seen waves before. That was a little new to them. So yeah, they've just done so incredibly well. I'm so proud.
It's been great hearing all about it. Sophie Matterson, thanks so much for your time.
Thank you so much, Roz.